Today we're talking about QDrive, which is our shared network for our whole CBI business and the place where we store all work files related to clients or related to any projects or other things that you're involved in. The only thing that doesn't get stored on QDrive is your personal information, which needs to be stored elsewhere. There are no personal folders on QDrive for you to put anything in. However, we expect that everything you do create is saved onto QDrive so that anyone can find it at any point in time. So today I'll take you through a couple of the main areas that client relationships area work within. The first, as you can see, is the client relationships folder. Within this folder, we have a few different areas. We've got our marketing and communications area, the area where all customer proposals are written, even if it's EAP or return to work or training, whatever it may be. And we have our client relationships team folder as well. So we might start with marketing communications folder down the bottom here. This is where we store anything that goes out to our clients or is available for our clients. Our marketing team obviously can help you move around this the best possible, but the first folder shows us any materials that have been created specifically for one of your clients. So let's say ABC, you'll see some posters created here. Anything that might be on their tailored portal would also be saved in this area as well. If we go down, we have corporate communications, which is more internal. We have the external communication file, which again shows you quite a few of the direct mail pieces we would have sent out to clients. There's one for the ROI calculator. There's one for the app. So if a client needs, the app poster again, you can come into here. You can go to launch. You can go to client poster generic PDF, and there it is, ready to attach to an email or send to a client directly. So external comms has most of what you'd need to be sending out pre-meeting, post-meeting, and so on. We also have another folder which has a lot of materials that you would often access, which is the promotional materials folder, which has more about, as you can imagine, promotional materials and soft copy versions of those, including the video down here. There's a whole range of other things that you'd find on the marketing comms file, predominantly portal posters for those who have tailored portals, our latest presentations that we've done, individual flyers for each of our products. So most recently we've just put together one for On-Site Assist, which you'd be able to find here, and it brings things up pretty quickly. Now, you don't store any variations of anything within the marketing folder. If you do make a variation of something, we'd expect you to store that in the clients file. And if you're not sure where to store it, you can ask the marketing guys and they can help you out with that as well. And then the archive is there for anything previously. So that's the marketing folder under client relationships. We also have the customer proposals file. So this is where you will spend quite a bit of your time. As you can see, the proposals are filed by the type of service that is delivered. So we have consulting up the top. Consulting includes conflict res, career, coaching, HR consulting, and there's also some standard templates within here. We have our training folders as well, and training is filed by either product type or by client name. Career transition is there too. That's a random one there actually. And People Assist is where we keep all our EAP type proposals. So it's either listed by EAP. We also have our others People Assist type products in here. So manager referred services, rapid response, general debriefing. And under rapid response, you'd also find one for general debriefing, which is those times that we get asked to come out on site and we often have to give a quote because it's around a redundancy or change. And it might even be quite a large scale project and they need a specific quote around that. So you'll find different templates in there for that. In the People Assist area under EAP proposals, we also categorize them by the type of EAP service it is. So we know 80% of our business is the offsite, so we can have a look at that to start with. And within the offsite, we list everything by client name. Now, if you are you're going to run a new proposal because you've been given a lead or you've found a new client, you will need to create a new folder under here. To create a folder, if you're not sure, you right click and you go to new folder and then create the folder name. We use the full name of the client generally in this area. And then within each of these clients, we would have a proposal listed. There's one for that. If it's a tender that's come in, we actually have a few folders that we have set up under the file name, which include these ones. So the initial specification and source documents, any working files. So as we're working on the the tender or the proposal, we might have our working files in there, and then our final submission, so you can see what was actually sent to the client. Really important we categorize those into the right folders so that anyone can access that at any time. So any EAP proposals will go in this area, makes it nice and easy to find what they are, and all done alphabetically as well. When we name a proposal, and we'll talk about naming conventions again a little bit later, we have a very specific way of doing that. Let's pull up one of these. Let's pull up Bernardo's. And you'll see that the client name goes first. We always use this bottom hyphen at the bottom to separate words. We'll then write what type of proposal it is. Again, a hyphen down there, and then we'll have a date on it. This one has a month and a date. Sometimes you'll see the year, the month, and then the date listed in numerical order as well. The numerical order is the way that we generally do file things. However, this is an external document, so we're actually going to send it to a client. So it makes more sense externally to give them the month and the year. It tends to make more sense for them. So that's a crash course around the proposal folders. As you can see, all of our business units use proposal folders, not just the CRM group. So it's really important we have consistency when we're doing the proposals. The other area in the client relationships folder is the client relationships team, and this relates generally to projects, to reports that might be available, to complaints, to raw data. So just a bit of a cumulative group for us to put anything that doesn't fit into one of the proposal or the client folders. And I think client folders is probably the next place to play down the list here. We do have a couple of areas in between. The corporate services area is generally not an area the client relationship managers would have much use for, but sometimes we do like to have a look at customer contracts, which lists all of our contracts, and it's done by state or national here. So let's go to Queensland. And we can see all of our contracts here. So if a client's looking for the latest contract that they might have, we can click in here, click into one that maybe has something in there, and you'll see the most recent service agreement also listed here by date. Outside of that corporate services, most of this information you'd be able to find on SharePoint, which is probably the better place to look for that information. We also have a consulting folder. So consulting folders are there for once, obviously the proposals are saved in the client relationships folder, but if a project gets sold and we start having documentation around that, it goes into the consulting area. So again, it's listed by service type. Let's have a look at the training one to just give you an indication. So let's say we were doing a ABC project for training. Let's have a look at A. Let's go to, well, they probably call it Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Sometimes it's under the shortened word, and sometimes it'll be under the longer one. Oh, I picked a client that we don't actually have a training program for. That's unusual, isn't it? We got one for, let's have a look at ABS, just for something different. Oh, there's nothing in that one either. Should we go to one that might have something in it? Okay. Often we do put folders in place before we have a work for it. It gets set up at the time of job setup. So we can see here that we have two different jobs for training for this organisation and two different titles and projects, and within here there will be different documentation around that. So that's saved in the consulting folder. So anything that has been sold will go into a consulting folder as a project that's being administered. So we've covered client relationship consulting, corporate services. Customer accounts folder is where CRMs generally play. This is every account that we have in our organisation listed firstly by first letter and then by actual company name. And if we go into one of these, we might see a contract, we might see the reporting and awareness sessions listed here as well. We do sometimes have a standard number of folders that we have in here. This is what you call a standard file setup type, and generally the client contracts people will put that together when they set up the account, which makes it a bit easier to find what you need. In the reporting folder, you'll see there's the statistical reports, which are the quarterly reports that get done, and they're all listed there by date. So that's customer accounts folder. The last one is professional services. So this is where we keep a lot of our product information, so not around a client proposal necessarily, but let's play with training again and have a look in there. We'll find here a whole bunch of lists of training programs and the content behind that. We'll also find the seminar topics and again the topic materials under that as well. And we'll also find their promotional items and their templates and pro formas that they use to schedule the training. All right. So that is a very, very quick tour of Q Drive. I hope it made a little bit of sense. The most important thing is to store everything here because you can access this at any point in time. And when you are working remotely, you will also have access via this little dial down here. If you click on here, and this is what we call VPN network or VP network. And let's say I'm working from home or working from a client site. If I go through here, it actually activates the Q Drive for me, so therefore I can pick it up wherever I may be. So in terms of folder structure, I hope that's a little bit clearer. Connecting in Q Drive and connecting remotely. A little bit about the naming conventions as well, and don't forget we have space everything by the hyphens. We always have the file name first and then the date on the end, and we do have a specific document about naming conventions, which I'm going to add to this tutorial as well. I think that covers today. Thank you.